Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a rule that, let's be honest, most of us feel like we've got figured out, the Third Commandment. But what if I told you there's so much more to it than just what you say? What if it's really about how you live? All right, let's get into it. Okay, so here it is, right? Straight from the book of Exodus. And on the surface, yeah, it seems pretty straightforward. It's a pillar of Judeo-Christian thought. But the key that unlocks its real depth is hiding in plain sight, in that one little word, misuse. You know, for most of us, when we hear this commandment, our brain immediately goes to one place, profanity. We hear it and think, got it, don't use God's name as a curse word. And look, that's not totally wrong, but it's like only seeing the tiny, tiny tip of a massive iceberg. So that leads us to the real question here, the one we're going to unpack. What does it actually mean to take or carry or use God's name in vain? Well, it turns out the original language has a fascinating and much, much bigger answer. To get to that answer, we've got to do a little digging. We're going back to the original Hebrew text. And this is where the commandment goes from being a simple rule about what you say to a profound principle about your entire life. The original text uses the Hebrew word lashah. And this is where everything kind of clicks into place. It doesn't just mean in vain, like a throwaway cuss word. It means to do something falsely, worthlessly, or emptily. Whoa. That's a much bigger idea, right? So what does that even look like? Using God's name falsely or worthlessly in the real world? Well, it covers a lot. It means making oaths in God's name you have zero intention of keeping. It's about religious hypocrisy. That's a big one. Using God for your own selfish gain. It's acting all holy and pious on the outside while your actual life and choices are going in the complete opposite direction. It's about any kind of worship that's just empty. All show, no heart. So you see, it all boils down to this one powerful idea, misrepresentation. It's about claiming the name of God, saying you're his representative, but then living a life that contradicts that claim. A life that makes his name look, well, worthless, empty, or false. It's a direct shot at hypocrisy. Now, let's fast forward a bit, because Jesus offers this incredible, positive flip side to the coin. He doesn't just tell us what not to do with God's name, he actually shows us what our goal should be. You've probably heard this before. In the prayer he taught his followers, the very first request is this: hallowed be your name. And that word, hallowed, it just means to be treated as holy, to be honored and set apart. And here's the thing. This isn't just Jesus stating a fact, like, hey, everyone, God's name is holy. No. It's a petition. It's a deep desire. He's basically teaching us to pray, let my life, my words, my actions cause other people to see your name as holy. It's a personal mission statement. So this gives us this really positive vision, right? You could almost think of it in two steps. First, it starts on the inside with a genuine reverence and respect for God. And then, step two, you live out of that reverence in a way that your life itself becomes an argument for God's goodness to everyone watching. All right, so we've got these two big ideas, don't we? We have this serious warning from way back in Exodus, and then we have this incredible aspirational goal from Jesus in Matthew. So how do they fit together? Think about it like building a house. The command in Exodus, that's the floor. It's the absolute baseline, the minimum standard. Don't dishonor God's name. But then Jesus' prayer, that's the ceiling. That's the high and lofty goal we're stretching for, to actively bring honor to his name. See, they're not two separate rules. They're two sides of the very same principle. It's one principle, one single, unified direction for our entire lives. So this all comes full circle, right back to us. If this whole commandment is really about how we represent God, well, that raises a pretty personal question for anyone who claims to follow him. Let's make this super practical. You look at Exodus. The lesson is, don't treat God's name like it's cheap or meaningless. So you got to ask yourself, am I doing that? Maybe not just with my words, but with my actions. Then you look at Matthew. The goal is to have your life bring honor to God's name. And the question becomes, okay, for real, Is my life actually causing people to think better of God, to respect Him more? At the end of the day, it's really a heart check. The way you treat God's name, whether you make it seem empty and worthless through hypocrisy, or whether you make it honored and holy through your integrity, that reveals what's really at the center of your life. So we'll leave you with this. Just forget about profanity for a moment and think about representation. When the people who really know you, who see you every day, when they look at your life, what do they learn about the name you claim to represent? That's the real challenge of the Third Commandment.